Hey, what's going on, everybody? FullFrontage here today, bringing out a Clash Mini video, and in today's video, we're gonna kind of go over like an update wish list. Kind of, what does the future of Clash Mini look like? What does the future of the channel look like? What features would I like to see come to the game? And I want to hear all your thoughts down in the comment section below as we're going through a bunch of different things. So first thing, let's start off with the channel and kind of where uploads have been. As you know, content creation is not my full-time job, so a little bit difficult to get consistent like daily uploads out there. So what I really want to try to do is focus on getting high quality content out there in terms of what is beneficial, because at the end of the day, right now, our goal as a Clash Mini community is to get the game to go global, right? Because if the game doesn't go global, then that's it. Like there's no more content to create because the game's gonna get shut down. So obviously I want to prevent that from happening. I know everybody watching this video wants to prevent that from happening. So the thought is to give the team as much healthy and constructive feedback as possible in order for them to come up with the ideas or get ideas to push the game into a state where it is able to go global. Because I personally, I'm going to be 100% honest, it's really not there yet. But with everything that the team has been implementing, it is getting there, and I'm really excited about what's coming in the next update. I don't have any like official information. I don't know what's coming in the next update. I know what you guys know, which is what we heard in the Discord stage channel, which is what we're going to be talking about in today's video, and kind of providing ideas and feedback, and maybe it creates something in the spark of development that the team is like, oh, I didn't think of that, or it makes them think of something new. That is the whole point of creating videos like this, is for the team and for the community to get conversating and coming up with an ideas as a community to present to the team, maybe for upcoming updates and things like that. So kind of talking about what content is going to be coming to the channel. It's mainly going to be content kind of like this. So if there's topics you guys want to see, please let me know down in the comment section below. I can create videos on it and things like that, and we can get a discussion going as a community. And the other thing is going to be, of course, any update information. I already have the raid boss guides coming out. A lot of you guys have been asking for that, so I'm going to deliver on it. I'm going to be talking about 3 decks that I think the raid boss that will work for you guys as the raid boss comes in. We're going to have mid-season update as teased by Frame in the stage channel, so that's going to be coming, and things like that. So if there's any other deck guides you want to see, let me know down in the comment section below. But so let's start with talking about the first thing that was talked about in the stage channel, or the first big thing that I think was talked about in the stage channel, was changes to hero progression. And I'm going to give, I don't know anything about what was, other than what was said during that stage channel, but I'm going to give my thoughts and what I think would be a great idea for hero progression, and where I see the game going, and how, and then talking about how the idea makes it healthy for the game long term. So we're talking about, Frame had said that the hero progression is going to be changed, something like we've never seen before, but he also mentioned that the team did like the level 4 and level 8 kind of separation of the hero abilities. So this is where the idea is going to come in. I think we're going to have 5 abilities for heroes. Now that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to talk about why 5 abilities and how it's healthy for the game long term. So of course you get the hero, you unlock the hero, you have its base ability. I don't think that's going to change. Like, that should just be constant. When you unlock the hero, you get a base ability. That's it. Now those base abilities might change, but once you get that hero, you get that ability. Then we have the level 4, which actually unlocks you 2 abilities, but you only get that 1 ability slot. So you get the 2 abilities, and then you have to choose which ability you want to play during the match. So say we have the extended, or the +4 HP on the Barbarian King, for example. Maybe something comes with that where it's like you get a speed boost instead of +4 HP. Like everybody gets a speed boost. So now they get an attack boost and a speed boost with that. So maybe things like that. I'm not saying that has to be its ability, but that was just like the first thing that popped into my head. I didn't come up with like explicit 5 abilities for each hero, but if you want me to do that, let me know and I'll do my best to come up with some stuff. But so that's the thought with that. So like once you hit level 4, you now get to choose between the healing and the speed boost. So you can either get attack damage and +4 health to your Barbarian King, or you get attack damage and speed boost to your entire army. So now you do extra damage and you also attack a little bit quicker. Maybe that's one of the things that is introduced with it. And then at level 8, same thing. You get 2 abilities You get to have Iron Fist last longer or something else. And the reason that's healthy for the game long term is because it's not the same thing over and over and over and over again. If Barbarian King is your favorite hero and you love playing it, but you play the same thing over and over and over again, they're short matches, so it gets really repetitive. Once you do it for like an hour, you're just kind of like, I don't want to play anymore, right? And then you close the game after an hour. And that's just like thinking about it from a casual player perspective, right? Like competitive players will grind out the game, and even they'll get burnout eventually. But you want to keep it fresh, where it's like, okay, I just played with the health to my Barbarian King and the extended duration of Iron Fist. Now I want to play with the speed boost and this other ability, and then you queue that. Or now I want to play with the speed boost and the extended duration of it. You know, you can have different combinations with it. And then when you queue into a match, it also leaves your opponent to say, okay, it's not just, oh, he's got a Barbarian King. Okay, I know he's gonna heal. I know he's gonna. If you have a Wizard in your deck, right, or a Valkyrie, right, or both, and you're playing anti-heal, and you're going up against a Barbarian King. Okay, does he actually have the heal, or does he have the speed boost ability? Like, am I gonna, like, what does this look like now? Yes, it adds more RNG elements into the game, but honestly, it also adds for different strategy, because like, obviously, when you're going up against a Barbarian King with a Wizard and a Valkyrie, you immediately want to go for the negate healing. But if your opponent doesn't have healing, you don't spend the 2 elixir on the Wizard to upgrade to the Spicy. You don't spend the 2 elixir on the upgrade, or 3 elixir on the upgrade for the Valkyrie to cut the healing. You change those abilities and say, okay, now I want to do damage over time. I want to get the Wizard's second ability instead of its third ability. I want to get the Valkyrie's first star ability instead of its third star ability. It changes the strategy, and it changes how you play the game. And to me, in my mind, that is actually healthier for the game long term, because it's not the same thing over and over again. It provides variety. It provides different strategies that are implemented into the game. It makes competitive play a lot more entertaining and a lot more competitive, and more reliant on game knowledge and adaptation to being able to say, okay, when I normally play against these heroes, this hero ability set, I upgrade these minis. But now, because he's playing this hero ability set, I need to change the way I upgrade my minis. Maybe I need to get this ability on my Magic Archer first. Maybe I need to get this ability on my Golden Giant first now. Things like that are so crucial in upgrade order in terms of abilities to the game that it would really change how the game is played. So if they truly want hero progression to be game changing, to me, in my mind, that's the way that I'm looking at how the hero progression is going to change for the better of the game, and how it implements the game, or how it impacts the game long term, and how it can be implemented into the game. So let me know what you think of that hero progression change down in the comment section below. Is that something you agree with? Is that something you disagree with because of the RNG elements? I can see the pros and cons on how that would work, but in my mind, I think it just makes sense in terms of healthy long term for the game, because it adds variety. It adds a bunch of different skills, a bunch of different strategies that you can implement into the game, with having all these different mix and match abilities with your heroes and things like that. So that's kind of where my head's at with it. Again, let me know what you think down in the comment section below about that. So the second one that we're going to be talking about is going to be a new game mode. One of the game modes that I would really like to see is either extended game modes instead of first to 3, maybe it's first to 4 or first to 5, or like a ramp up challenge, where round 1 you start with the basic 6, round 2 you get 7 elixir, round 3 you get 8 elixir, round 3 you get 9 elixir, and it just continuously goes up. So that way it's a fun game mode where you can have like all 5 of your 4 cost minis at 3 stars. Right? Like, that is just so chaotic. It's so fun. It doesn't need to be a ranked mode. It just needs to be a fun game mode that you can play with friends, that like content creators could load up on stream, load up into a Rumble, and it's the extended and it's the ramp up mode. So it's like in Rumble, round 1 you have 6 elixir, round 2 you have 7 elixir, and it's just fun. It's an engaging thing for the community. Adding in different game modes like that. Now, I'm not saying that's like the perfect idea for a game mode, but that's like personally what I would want to see, because then it also lets you kind of just have fun with it, right? Like like I said, it would be so fun to have like all your 4 cost minis, all 3 start out like that. That is just really fun. I think that would be super, super cool, and things like that. So those are just like some small random ideas that I had for game modes that I would like to see implemented. Next thing we're going to talk about is clans. Now, Vlad did mention clan wars were going to be a thing. So what it's going to be is, in my mind, there's two options. One is kind of like a PvE element to clan wars, and the other is PvP type. And I think both theoretically could be implemented. And I say PvE, but it's really set up by the player. So like we see in the single player modes, like we're seeing on screen right now, is there's already a pre-existing setup that you have. So when you queue up into a clan wars match, you match with the clan, and there's like a preparation phase. In that preparation phase, the opponent will have their hero and the elixir and the map that it's going to be played on. So you get to see what the board is, and then you load in as the like defender, right? So say I have Barbarian King. So I play Barbarian King, and then I play my 3 minis. I'm playing the Barbarian King with the all 2 elixir minis. I play my 3 minis. That's round 1. Then I load up into round 2. Which minis do I want to upgrade? Do I want to play more minis? Do I want to set it up this way? Do I want to set it up this way? Obviously, you don't see what the attacker is playing, but you set up your defenses, and you set it up from round 1 to round 5. You get the amount of points, like if you win a defense, and it went all the way to round 5, the defender gets a little extra points because they were able to defend at least 2 of the rounds. And then if they win and it was 3-2, if the defender wins and it was 3-2, then they get slightly more points. If the defender wins 3-0, then they get the most amount of points possible for their clan. And then as you go through, you do everything, it's said and done. So that was like my thought, where it's kind of like the PvE, because then when the attacker goes in, they're like, okay, this is set up in round 1. This is going to get implemented. Let's see. Okay, so he has the Barbarian King. He has these 3 minis. I'm playing Skeleton King. How do I want to combat this? Like, what's the best counter that I can come up with? And to me, that really says, like, that implements more strategy, and it helps you become better at the game because you're seeing the setup. And it's not just like the single player levels, right? Like, it's almost like an expansion of the single player levels, but it's against real players. So like, and then it also helps the defender kind of be like, okay, and when they go back and watch the replay of the match, they're like, okay, this is what they did. What do I need to do differently if I'm in this situation to make sure that that doesn't happen? So to me, it's like a learning experience, but it's also a fun game mode. So that's one way I think Clan Wars could be. The other way I think Clan Wars could be is real-time PvP. You queue up, like, through the clan log, or the clan battle screen. You queue up, you get into your match, you play your match, you earn a certain amount of points for your clan. Clan battles start on this day. You have a certain amount of matches you can play. You just queue up, you get into your match, you earn points, and then that's it. So similar to what it is in like Brawl Stars, where it's like you have a certain amount of things you can play per day. You queue up, you get points for your clan, and then there's like a clan leaderboard between like 8 different clans, and the amount of points determines your spot on the clan week leaderboard. And then where you are, say you finish in first, you get X amount of points. You finish in second, you get X amount of points. You climb up the clan rank leaderboards and things like that. That is also the PvP aspect to it. I personally would like to see both if possible. Like, I don't really know how that would work. Maybe there's maybe there's like a PvP leaderboards, and then just like a clan versus clan. Maybe it's something you can do for both. Like, maybe you'd play both. I don't know. But the reason I'm saying both ideas is because I want to provide as much feedback and information as possible from my side, because maybe they want to go a PvE route for Clan Wars. If they want to go the PvP route, then I'm providing that context for them as well. So, and to the community as well. So let me know the community. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Which idea do you like better? Do you like the PvP idea better? I assume most people are going to choose the PvP, but I also want to throw out the PvE idea because it's like a sandbox type mode. It's really interesting. It helps people with their learning curve and things like that. And then, of course, the long-term health of the game is interaction with your clan. When the point of a multiplayer game is to be able to interact with other people, and when there's already a clan system introduced, you want to be able to do something with your clan, obviously outside of raids, because raids it's kind of the same rinse and repeat type thing. Like, yeah, it gets challenging, but it's not really like, it doesn't really impact you for like understanding the core game, because Lava Golem is only a raid boss. Like, it's a fun thing. I think it'd be cool if once clan wars are introduced, maybe raids are switched to a weekend cadence. You can only play raids on weekends, and there's increased rewards for raids and things like that. So that's kind of my idea with clans. And then the last thing I want to talk about is going to be the esports aspect of this is the last thing that was the very last thing from Gishi that was brought up into the stage channel, was talking about esports. So coming from an esports background, I apologize if this is like a little bit of a rant, but coming from an esports background, how an esports succeeds is solely based on its competitive like ecosystem within the game itself. Like, does the game feel competitive? If it doesn't feel competitive, it can't be an esport. Simple as that. Clash Mini does feel like it can be an esport, but the other thing to consider when it comes to a successful esport is how healthy is your casual player base. Because without the casual player base, there's no esports viewership. Because if the casual player base is not interested in learning more about the game or interacting with the game outside of just playing it, then an esports scene cannot succeed. It has to be thriving. The casual player base has to be thriving. So in my mind, when implementing features to a game that wants to pursue that competitive side, you need to have, first off, you need to implement features that are beneficial to both the competitive player and the casual player. So we're going to talk about that. I'm sure the team knows of all these things, but I'm just going to reiterate on them. First thing is going to be spectating and replay system battle logs. Those are very self-explanatory. One thing I think would be really cool that be introduced is replays of the matches from the top 100 or top 200 that is accessible to everybody, or the top 1000, whatever sees fit. Probably top 200. Replays from the top 200, anybody can view them. Mini TV, you queue up, you watch the match, you learn from players. That's it. Simple as that. If somebody sees a deck that they really like and they're like, oh, how do they do this? Maybe they go search it up on YouTube, increase views for content creation as well. So that's my thought with the mini TV. Hopefully it would entice people to want to learn more about, hey, how is this deck played? Is this person on YouTube? They played this really well. They search their name up on YouTube, it shows up, whatever. Sounds good. Cool. So that's like one of like the big things is like spectator, replays, battle log, things like that. Spectator mode, you spectate people on your friends list, you spectate people in mini rooms, things like that. Makes for a more entertaining esports scene. If you're friends with the content creator, you can watch them live. If you're friends with the pro player, you can watch them live through your friends list. Things like that, being able to implement that would be amazing. Second thing, there was an issue with the leaderboards in the previous update where once a player changed their deck, that deck automatically showed up on their player profile. The fix that I would recommend is I think you should be able to see what decks are on players' profiles, but to an extent. So the way it works is once you see a deck that you're playing on, like if I'm playing a deck on ladder, say I'm playing Barbarian King with all 2 elixir minis on ladder, if I then switch my deck to Skeleton King and I didn't play a ladder match, it should not show up on my profile. The only way a deck should show up on your profile is if you played it in a public ladder match. So if I want to throw off my opponent before I enter into a tournament and I load up Archer Queen with all 4 elixir minis and I play that ladder match and I go into a tournament, I play my first round in the tournament. If my second round opponent goes to my profile, it should still show the Archer Queen with all my 4 elixir minis, because in a private match, I did not choose to play that deck publicly. Unless it was on broadcast, then of course that's different. But if I'm queuing into a tournament and I click on my opponent's profile, if it wasn't played in a public match, it shouldn't be showing on the profile. And the reason I'm saying that is like, yeah, but you could play it on a private match and your deck shows up that way too. Sure, but I think it's probably easier from a development side. Maybe I'm completely wrong, so maybe that is an alternative, is that like once a match, maybe it's easier to program when X happens, Y shows. So when a match is played, the deck shows on the profile. If that's easier to code, then great, do it that way. I would just think it's easier to queue for like a public ladder match, because then it only populates from when this player did this action, it shows up here. Maybe I'm completely wrong, so there's both options there, but I think that would probably be the best way to do it. So that way, if I load a deck on if I'm loading up a deck and I didn't play a match with it, it shouldn't show up on my profile. And I think that was the bigger problem, because like before tournaments, people who were creating the rooms, they can't like switch their deck once the room has been created. So they'll be like, okay, here's the room code. And then the person who's joining will just go to their profile, look at it, and be like, okay, I know what this person's running. I'm going to choose this deck, counter, boom, GG, well played. So it kind of ruins the competitive integrity like that. So that's why I think like when a match is played on public ladder, that's when it shows up. Or when a match is played, that's when it shows up. Whatever is easier to code, but basically TLDR, when a match is played, the deck should show up on the profile. If you load a deck and the match hasn't been played with that deck, it doesn't show on the profile. It's beneficial to both casual and competitive players, because now the competitive players don't have to worry about their decks getting sniped when they're queuing up into a mini room. And then it's beneficial to the casual players because they can now go back to the leaderboards and see what are some of the top decks. So I want to try this deck. What is this player running? Oh, they're running this deck. I know this deck, or I already have this deck. Maybe this deck is really good. And things like that. So that is like the other feature that I would really like to see for competitive play. And I, again, think it's super, super, super beneficial to casual players as well to have something like that implemented into the game. And then the last thing is going to be tournament standard. This is beneficial to both competitive and casual players, because if you're thriving to be a competitive player and you don't have a ton of money to spend, you can play a tournament standard. You get every hero, all the minis are at level 3, and boom, once you're in a competitive setting, everything's maxed out. You have the freedom to choose. And the way this works is with the new hero progression, if that's implemented and you're able to choose abilities, then basically you have, it's either a deck slot toggle or there's a separate lobby for mini rooms. So like right now you queue up into a mini room and you create, like, you get the room code and everything, and then you're just waiting in like the loading screen. But what if it was when you queued up into a mini room, you get the code, you then choose your deck, and then you hit ready. So it generates the code so that way both people can be in, and then there's a second selection screen with a singular deck, because it's like, this is the deck you're playing for this match. You don't have deck slots or anything like that in competitive. You can load a deck slot from your current deck slot. So there's like a load button. You tap it and it'll be like, do you want to load decks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And you choose that. So that way you get your deck. You don't have to choose every single time. But in the actual interface, there's only one deck slot. So maybe I can work with the designer in the community. If you're a designer, let me know down in the comment section below, and we can like talk through this idea and show to the team if I'm not explaining it clearly enough. But I think this would be a really good feature as well for both casual and competitive players, because it makes tournaments a lot more accessible to a wider range of players. And then it also makes the casual players kind of figure out, like, what hero do I want to try to level up next? Like, they play with their friends. Oh my gosh, I love Royal Champion. I really need to try to get this to level 8 because I love these abilities. I love this combo. Royal Champion is going to be the one I'm focusing on. If I see Royal Champion in my shop, I know I'm spending my gems on those hero fragments. It kind of gives people that, instead of like watching it, they get to try it themselves. They get to play with their friends with it, and things like that. Or if they're like, wow, Ice Wizard is really good at 3 stars. With when he dies, he freezes everybody that's near him. I really want that ability because it works well with my deck, and I play it like this, so it works well with this. And then when Ice Wizard shows up in their shop, they focus on buying the Ice Wizard instead of prioritizing other things. So I think it's really beneficial to both competitive and casual players in that perspective, which is why I think tournament standards should be a thing, especially if there's going to be new hero progression where there's multiple abilities, if people get to choose their abilities, and it improves the way that heroes progress throughout the game, because then people are going to want to choose which heroes they're upgrading and make the game feel like a more personable experience rather than kind of being force-fed into one direction or the other and not really fully understanding what you're getting into, not fully understanding like, oh, Royal Champion seems really cool, and then you get it to level 8 and you're like, I actually would have preferred Skeleton King. Like, Skeleton King is way cooler than Royal Champion. Being able to actually experience that yourself is super important as a casual player, and it really helps for the game long term because it really sets them up to be like, okay, here's where I'm starting. This is where I want to end. Like, I already know this because I've tried it. I want to do it. And then that's their goal. Once they get there, they're like, okay, now this one looks really cool. Now I'm going to do this one, and things like that. So that's why I think the game should go. That's the direction I think the game should head. From both the casual and competitive perspective. But I know that was a little bit of a longer video, but let me know all your thoughts down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed this. I said I was going to try to keep it short, but here we are, about 25 minutes in. But that's going to do it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more content, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos, and I'll talk to y'all in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you later. Peace out.